Which do you prefer?
Just write on the Bible.
Okay, just put your hand on the Bible. Jennifer Pan, swear that the evidence you shall give on this investigation shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God?
I do.
So it's kind of questionable why just her parents' house would be targeted in a nice neighborhood. Jennifer, she's a grown woman. She's fake crying in front of the detective.
I know you feel me, yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoa, whoa. Huh. Girl, I know you feel me, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, so much to live for, too, baby. Whoa. Let's not rush into it.
Hey you guys, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I'm Braylon. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe so you guys never miss out on any of my future videos. And as you guys saw by the title of today's video, I'm doing a true crime story. And today's story is the story of Jennifer Pan. A little bit of insight about Jennifer. So Jennifer, she was a daughter of some refugees who moved from Vietnam to Canada. They moved here in hopes of a better life, and Jennifer's father, Han, and her mother, Bic Pan, they pressured her from a really young age to succeed and to excel academically, and as well as in music and figure skating. So a little synopsis is Jennifer, she didn't graduate. She failed calculus. She lied to her parents about her graduating from high school and attending pharmacy school. Once they found out, that's when things went downhill for Jennifer. Like I said, Jennifer's parents came here for a better life. Jennifer's dad, who was a tool and die maker, and Bic, she also worked in the same factory as her husband, and she put together car parts. Jennifer's parents, they also wanted their children to be better than them, because like I said, they were both working factory jobs and they came here to better their children's lives. They tried to pave a way for them. And Jennifer, she also did have a brother. Her brother's name was Felix, and he studied as a medical engineer at a prestigious university. And his dad actually wanted him to design cars, not assemble them. Meanwhile, Jennifer, she was doing figure skating. And Jennifer, she was an Olympic caliber figure skater and also an award pianist, and she's been playing since the age of 4. Her father wanted her to be a doctor, not a pharmacist. He felt like she didn't have the stomach for it, and they lived in the greater Toronto area, and they drove 2 nice luxury cars. Both Jennifer and Felix were given all the tools that they needed to succeed from their parents. So Jennifer, she did have really strict parents. She felt like she wasn't there, I guess, all the way academically, so she also had plans, like I said, to become a huge figure skater. And she ended up getting a knee injury at the age of 14, and she just couldn't compete because of the injury. She had false pretenses, and she would fake her test results, and she would show it to her parents that she was actually doing pretty well for herself. And she would also fake her year-end report card. Everything was just a facade. Her parents just didn't see through that. She also did fake a high school diploma, and she also faked her acceptance letter for university for studying pharmacology. So Jennifer, she actually dropped out of high school to live with her drug dealing boyfriend. Her and her boyfriend, they dated secretly for 8 years. 2010 is when Jennifer's parents, they found out about her dating her drug dealing boyfriend, and they gave her an ultimatum. Her ultimatum was to live a strict regime at home, or she could get kicked out and basically be disowned from her parents. So keep in mind, now Jennifer, she's 24 years old. So fast forward to once the police came. So Jennifer, she did get interviewed, I guess you could say. They were basically asking her, like, how did the intruders come in? Like, was it a knock? Was it a doorbell? Did they just barge in? She didn't hear anything. She was watching TV when it all happened. When it happened, her mom, Bic, was on the lower level when the intruders came into the house.
I'm okay. My dad just went outside screaming.
Do you think your mom is downstairs too?
I don't hear her anymore.
Also mentioned how she heard that the intruders were only looking for money and not a specific quantity of money. The thing is, Jennifer, she wasn't in any like illegal activity or anything like that. So it's kind of questionable why just her parents' house would be targeted in a nice neighborhood and only her parents would get killed. Jennifer, she did state that the intruders wouldn't harm her if she cooperated.
What's your name?
My name is Jennifer.
So it just broke in?
Someone broke in and I heard shots like pops. I don't know what's happening. I'm tied upstairs.
Because I want to see how you could physically get your phone out of your waistband.
We're obviously going to need to know that. It's very important. So traumatize away. Now put yourself into just a state of, I need to mechanically show how I can get access to my phone. Okay, because that's obviously very relevant. We know you made the phone call, but questions are going to obviously raise is that if my hands are bound and I'm against a railing, how do I talk to a 911 operator? Okay, so clinically, this is now a clinical demonstration. Just stand up, focus in on how you did it. And I want you to stick that in your waistband as an example. Okay, so just take your sweater off, because this will be a very smooth, very quick thing. It's a one-time demonstration. I'm not going to ask you to repeat it.
The two critical parts of this demonstration are where Jennifer states she was tied, and the movement of her arms as she takes her phone out of her pocket. The investigator is hoping the mechanics of the two components would be illogical and contradict each other.
I tied my upper arm
Yes?
around the banister,
Yes?
but my hands were bound together.
So your hands bound together, and this is the arm that's the strings wrapped around against the banister?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now how can you get to the phone? And how do you make the phone call?
Whether it be a stroke of luck or that Jennifer had prepared for this moment, this actually made sense. Had her restraint been below the elbow, none of this would have been possible. It's perhaps the single moment where Jennifer's statement was somewhat beneficial to her defense, but the assumption was that she had her phone in her hands the entire time and wouldn't have had to retrieve it from her waistband. She can now argue that this portion of her testimony is genuine.
Basically, Jennifer, she just wanted to kill her parents, so I guess her and her boyfriend could live happily ever after. I don't get the logic behind it. Jennifer, she's a grown woman. Is she not realizing this? I mean, I can kind of see how she doesn't because of how her parents are so strict. You're a grown woman. So the detective, he had a feeling that there was an ultimatum that Jennifer had going on from her parents. She said at the end of the day, she loves her parents and she would do anything for them and she would take care of them. The detective, he left her for about 20 minutes or so. He left her and came back to add some more like psychological pressure on Jennifer. Meanwhile, while the detective is gone, Jennifer, she's pacing back and forth in the interrogation room. And the detective finally came back. He asked her if she was okay and she mentioned that she was scared. The detective told her to sit down and he just kept like reassuring her that like he was on her side, just trying to help her solve her mom's murder. So what happened to Jennifer's dad is he had a bullet fragment was lodged in his face and the doctors couldn't remove it. He also had a shattered neck bone as well. During that interview, they said that her dad, he did regain some consciousness. They didn't think things would be the same for Jennifer's dad. They just thought that he would be useless as a witness because of the irreversible brain damage. The detective, knowing that, he told Jennifer that they're going to mainly rely on her until her dad can give a statement. So the detective, he was basically saying like if Jennifer doesn't have anything to hide, then she should be okay. Like both statements should match up and correlate with each other. Nothing should be different at all. Once Jennifer's mom, Bick, once her funeral came around, which was about 3 days later after the home invasion, they had Jennifer under close observation and under surveillance as well. They said that majority of the time at her mom's funeral, she was emotionless most of the time and she would only grieve like some moments, but she didn't have any tears and she just kept her head down, her eyes down. She didn't really show too much of emotion and she would have her eyes shut for quite some time at the funeral. Jennifer, her dad woke up from his coma and he was able to remember everything. On November 16th, in secret, Jennifer's dad, he gave a statement. He gave an official statement to the police officers about what happened. And most of his story did contradict what Jennifer said. Of course, at first she did mention that she was tied up. Her dad's story didn't match up with that. He said that she wasn't even tied up at all. And that how she was walking around with the intruders just freely like they were cool. Jennifer's dad did end up calling her. They did talk on the phone and the police told Jennifer's dad to act amnesic on the phone. So Jennifer doesn't realize, oh, he knows, like I guess try to escape. They basically just told him not to confront her about what happened. He also wanted to ask Jennifer if her ex-boyfriend was behind the whole situation, because it was just his word against hers. It was his word against Jennifer's. The York Regional Police Department, they needed a confession from Jennifer to secure a conviction for her. That first night when it happened, Jennifer walked scot-free. They called Jennifer back in November 22nd, 2010 at the Markham Police Station at 2:30, a week after the incident. Jennifer came back. She started off the interrogation emotional. She claimed she didn't feel comfortable at all. The second time going back, they used their best investigator, and he started off with a approach of like he's not playing any games, basically. He used a more nonsense approach. He managed to build a good rapport and remain like sympathetic for Jennifer as well. Apparently they had some technical difficulties and they had to move to a different room for her questioning. So the layout of the new room was designed to accelerate the discomfort and isolation for the suspect. Keep in mind, she's still free to go because she wasn't being detained at all. He basically unknowingly was a suspect, but she just wasn't under arrest. And he asked her like about her past, like her playing the piano, her figure skating. He was just asking her like what made her stop playing and like what's going on with like playing the piano. He was just asking her like a bunch of questions about her work history. And the detective, he started using how and why solution with Jennifer. So the detective started using that type of tactic with her to take the blame away from her and like onto another set of circumstances. So he asked her like if she could pick any job, like what would it be? She said that she would be a piano teacher. She gave her reasoning and she mentioned that how she would be a lab technician as well. And she wanted to be a lab technician during the day and a piano teacher when she got off work from the lab technician job. Her saying that her career choice was at odds from what her parents wanted her to be, and she didn't want to disappoint her parents. So now the detective, he's building up the report that her concept and her having the over controlling parents, and he can see how it's an unfair limitation for her and what it will cause for her. He goes on to ask like what happened between them and why she hid it from her parents. And he was asking like how did it make her feel about the situation. Apparently he was of mixed race and they just didn't approve of her boyfriend. Parents wanted her to stop seeing her boyfriend. And Jennifer, she said that her boyfriend would fill an empty void that she had. To stop seeing him would make her depressed. How her parents found out that she was seeing her boyfriend was her boyfriend dropped her off at Pacifica Mall. Her mom was supposed to pick her up and her mom saw her hugging and kissing him goodbye. She just automatically didn't approve of him. So Jennifer, she did state that she stopped talking to her boyfriend for a while and then they started talking again. She explained that she was living with Daniel for 2 years while her parents thought she was studying at university. And she told how she bought like a fake diploma for like $500 something to show her parents and like a whole bunch of other stuff to just keep her lie going on. Then she finally explained that she had an ultimatum from her parents. Then the detective asked did her parents expect a lot out of her, and she agreed that they do and that they would, I guess, compare her to like club mates and classmates. Her parents would compare her to them and say, oh, they're so successful, I wish you were like that. So after she said that, she started crying, but there weren't any tears. She's fake crying in front of the detective because it's like, we obviously know what you did and why you did it. Because she did say she was tied up, but they asked how did she get her phone, but she said she was tied up and she showed the detective a way she was able to like get on her phone in like a sneaky way to call the police. Detective, he went from the beginning to the end to the middle to the end to the beginning all the way to the end again with Jennifer to make her be mentally fatigued and make her use critical thinking. But it's like, how can she when she can't keep up with her lies? Him doing that would make her exhausted to keep up. So then the detective, he tried another tactic or technique with Jennifer, telling her like basically it's useless to try to resist with all the evidence against her. He tried a tactic of reasoning and rationale, saying like everyone makes mistakes, like just basically making it seem like he was on her side to make her finally confess. So Jennifer, she did give out some more information and she was kind of like on the brink of confessing, but she just wanted to reassure that the detective was on her side and like what would happen to her, just stuff like that. So he just kept reassuring her like, I'm on your side, you're good, just tell me everything you can. The detective, he did avoid answering her directly like what would happen, because if that was the case and he did say what would happen, the case could get thrown out for misdirection. So He kept asking her questions and like trying to gain in on her. She was only answering non-incriminating questions, and she would remain silent for the ones that were incriminating. Obviously the pressure was on, but she was still lying, and she was like trying to be careful with her words. And she finally came out and said that they were supposed to kill her, not her parents. The detective got more of an inch of what was going on, and he knew that she was still lying. She was basically planning the home invasion all along, is what the detective is thinking. So by then the detective had enough information to place her under arrest, but he wanted more information before he did so. He finally talked about her accomplices. She did skate like around some of the questions, dodging them. He asked like, who was it? Like, who was up to this incident? Who planned it? He said that she didn't know the person's name. She only had his number, but she didn't memorize it. And she got the info from a guy named Rick.
Made mistakes, but nothing that couldn't be corrected. So who did you get to do this then?
I don't know who he is. I just got his number.
Okay, and what's his number?
I don't memorize it.
She skirts around the questions surrounding her accomplices and gives multiple fake names. She stated that she got the number of the supposed hitman from an acquaintance named Rick, and that she took everything from there over the phone. It becomes apparent she doesn't want to give up, or even mention her boyfriend, so for the time being the detective allows her to recount her amended narrative in the manner she pleases.
So what did you ask him to do then?
Come take me out and then leave.
Okay. Why did they do it when you were, when your parents were there then?
Never alone. In the nighttime.
Okay. So that meeting you had with Rick, you told him what you wanted?
No, I just said that I wanted, if he knew anybody who could take care of something that I needed.
And he said what?
Here's the number.
Did he have the number with him that day?
Yes.
Okay. What did he say he would do?
He just like told me to take care of it. Money you need.
So he does come into the house, and you're the obvious only young girl there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
What? So she kept trying to convince the detective that it was her who was supposed to be killed, but of course he's not going to buy that because it just didn't make sense. So the detective, he asked like, why didn't you tell me all of this like the first interrogation or the first time you got questioned? And Jennifer said that she was scared of telling the whole truth. He left her alone for about 3 minutes, and that whole time Jennifer was just playing with her hair out of, I guess, nervousness, being anxious. And then when the detective finally came back, that's when he charged her with first-degree murder. She also got charged with attempted murder. She also got charged with conspiracy to commit murder. He asked her if she understood the charges, and she said yes. Since she didn't have a lawyer, the detective did say that he was going to get her duty counsel, and he was going to call duty counsel up for her.
I just want to talk to someone who can help me and understand.
Okay, so who would that be?
I don't know.
So do you have a lawyer?
You said that you were on my side. And I was...
Okay, I am on your side, Jen. What would you like to do?
I don't have any idea what to do.
Do you want me to call duty counsel for you?
Okay.
Okay. Or is there any other lawyer that you would like?
I don't know what I need.
Okay. So at this point, you wish to speak to duty counsel then?
Sure.
Okay. So what I'm going to have to get you to do is actually empty all your pockets on the table here. I'm going to make sure that they're making a call to duty counsel, and we'll line that up, and you can speak to the duty counsel in private, okay? We've made a call to duty counsel, and we're just waiting for them to call back, okay? Need a drink of water or anything? What's that? I do have to go and speak to these officers, but I'll come back and speak to you, okay? But we got to take care of the lawyers, okay? That's the priority right now, okay?
So her trial was March 14th of 2014. They also found out that 116 text messages were between her and her boyfriend 6 hours leading up to the home invasion. And I guess they thought that they could use some burner cell phones to hide the evidence. But no, all of their tracks were uncovered, and they uncovered the entire discussion a month after the break-in. They also found DNA evidence, and they also had a witness testimony, and those people were found guilty of first degree. Life sentence without parole for 25 years in Grand Valley Institution for Women, and in 2035 that will be her first time of being eligible for parole. So basically, to sum up this whole story, they were supposed to like ransack the home and kill her parents. Jennifer's mom, she did get shot in the neck 2 times and once in the head. Her dad got shot in the shoulder and his face. But she obviously didn't make it. I feel like even if her dad didn't make it, her story still just didn't make sense. So regardless, one parent, both parents, no parents would have made it out, she still would have went to prison. Let me know what you guys think of this crazy story. I'm not sure why a bunch of students are offing their parents because of their grade. You're grown. Just have a sit down, just talk to them. I'm sure they'll be understanding and help guide you in the right direction. At least I would hope that they would, because they are your parents. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.